Shalom, and today, October 25th, 2024, this is the last day of Simchat Torah. Well, this is the last day where we celebrate Simchat Torah, but most importantly, this is the last day of Sukkot, and it is the great day where we celebrate Shemini Azaret. And so I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it is the term, and it simply means the eighth day. And this is a Shabbat, and this is a time of a holy convocation. So we're going to talk about that today. So for the last 8 days, this being the eighth day, we have been celebrating the Feast of Sukkot, where we're commanded to rejoice. And we are told to celebrate, and we wave the palm branch, and we wave the various species, and we're called to delight ourselves in the Lord and to celebrate. And so today I want to talk about, though, the last day, because we've discussed the fact that Sukkot, which is the Feast of Tabernacles, points to a time, and I've been sharing with you the word Emmanuel, that Sukkot is about God dwelling with us, that the Lord himself tabernacles with man. And we've discussed the ways and means by which God has come and tabernacled with us here on earth, from the time of the Mishkan, the tabernacle in the wilderness, to the time of the temple and his Shekinah glory in the temple, to today, as we are now the temple of the living God, housing his Ruach HaKodesh, his Holy Spirit. But Sukkot itself is a feast day of all feast days because it culminates with all the holidays, and it points to a time of creation into eternity. The 7 days of Sukkot speaks about the 7 days of creation. The earth was created in 6 days, and on the seventh day, God rested. So when we look, there are 7 days to creation. The book of Peter makes reference to the fact that a day is unto 1,000 years, as 1,000 years is unto a day. In drawing those two correlation and bringing those facts together, many people see that our existence on this earth, man's humanly existence, correlates to the 6 days of creation and the seventh day being the Sabbath rest. So many people believe that we are now living in the 6,000th year, which essentially is tantamount to the 6 days, and that the seventh day of creation where God rested coincides with this millennial reign where Yeshua himself will return to the earth for the 7,000th year, and we will rule and reign with him for 1,000 years upon this earth. So if we are able to analyze this correctly, what you see is 6 days of creation and God rests on the seventh, and human existence spans 6,000 years, and the 7,000 year, the last 1,000 years, will be a physical manifestation of Yeshua's earthly kingdom established on this earth where we will rule and reign with him. So many people see that that is also embodied in the 7 days of Sukkot. So then it brings us to the question, what is the eighth day? The Shemini Atzeretz. Well, that day, as is the number 8, is a day of new beginnings, a day of new beginnings, a day of starting over. And then many also believe that that then coincides with what we see in Revelation 21. And let's look at Revelation 21 and see what it says. What will be this eighth day? Revelation 21, starting at verse 1, and I read verses 1 through 4. And it says, Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Then he who sat on the throne, I'm continuing it with verse 5. Then he who sat on the throne said, behold, I will make all things new. And he said to me, write, for these words are faithful and true. And he said to me, verse 6, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give of the fountain of the water of life freely to him who thirsts. And so we see many of the elements here in the eighth day, as is the eighth day of Sukkot. One, we see one of the elements of Sukkot was this idea of the water, the libation ceremony. Here we're seeing water being flowing from the fountain of life for all who thirst. We also see this idea of the beginning and the end, because Sukkot is the feast of all feasts, and we know these feasts have been and are still prophetic. They speak of a time past and a time to come, for which the fullness of which is in Yeshua. And so we see this being spoken with the language, the Alpha and the Omega. And so we also see here that this eighth day represents new beginning. After the 6 days have passed, and the seventh day reign of Yeshua here on this earth for 1,000 years, then comes the eighth day, new beginnings, the new heaven and the new earth, where time will be no more, and God will tabernacle with man forever. Happy Sukkot, happy Shemini Atzeret, and Shabbat Shalom.